Hi, this is Tony. This is part 2 of episode 2 of our Deconstructing a Mix series. The name of the track is called Dead Kings. So as you can see, I already have the track pulled up here in Pro Tools. So we're going to go talk about the vocal tracks for this particular project and how they were mixed. So let's take a look at a few things here. I'm going to actually make this a little bit smaller so you can see it all. 4 audio tracks, a lead vocal. There's another one. It's named V4 for whatever reason. Both are panned down the center, and then we have vocal 2 and vocal 3 more kind of just to thicken things up. Those are panned left and right. We have a parallel compression track. Actually, it should be more like a parallel saturation track, which we'll get into why later. You see this thing called a vocal bus. Probably shouldn't be called a vocal bus because the only thing that's feeding the vocal bus is just this lead vocal track here. So there's a reason for that, and I'll get into that in a moment. So let's go into a few things. So on this track, I'm going to pull up this one part of the mix. Oops, I have these already soloed, so I'm going to get rid of these, or rather unsolo these. Those are the effects buses for the vocal tracks. So let's just take a listen to the lead vocal. And then I'm actually going to work out of this window. So NLS Summer was chosen just because to me it sounded the best. The Neve setting, I'm sorry, not the Neve setting, the SSL setting sounded the best to me.
Found escape in death.
If I do that again,
Found escape in death.
now I'm going to activate it.
Lost of all pain. No longer scared or afraid. One amongst dead kings. Mother.
All right. For this part here, so this was recorded using the Slate ML1 virtual microphone system. So I have a Neve emulator here.
Found
So I'm actually going to turn all these off so you can just hear the changes.
Found escape in death. Lost of all pain. No longer scared or afraid. One amongst dead kings.
All right, and then actually I'm going to do this. I'm going to highlight the chorus here. LA2A, a little bit of gain reduction. So didn't use a compressor when this went in, or compressor wasn't used when this went to disk or when it was recorded. So this is trying to emulate that chain a little bit.
Found escape in death.
Lift it off.
Lost of all pain. No longer scared or afraid.
I really like the Slate LA2A emulation that they have. Sibilants, there's a bunch of sibilants on this track, unfortunately. It's also some problem frequencies, some resonant frequencies. So let's see what happens if we turn these both off. And on.
Found escape in death. Lost of all pain. No longer scared or afraid. One amongst dead.
All right. Then we rolled off a little bit of the low and the highs. I could have combined these, but that's just not the way I mixed it for this particular project.
Found escape in death.
Now let's go look at SSL channel here, which is also going to feed this SSL channel here. So if I turn all of these off, it'll be interesting. I'm going to turn off these as well. So now we don't really hear much volume.
Found escape in death. Lost of all pain.
So I'm going to just turn this on just so we can hear it. We have some compression going on here.
Found escape in death.
6 to almost 10 dB of compression.
Lost of all pain.
Turn off the EQ section for a moment.
No longer scared or afraid. One amongst dead.
So it gives it a slight lift. Let's hear it again.
Found escape in death.
Then bypass.
Lost of all pain.
Yeah, it sounds boring.
No longer scared or afraid.
Now add some excitement back in. It wasn't boring. Maybe that's not the right word. Maybe more like... So it's probably because of that high shelf boost here. 6 dB boost at 16K. Cut a little bit of the mids out, as you can see.
Found escape in death.
Now let's mute it or bypass the EQ.
Found escape in death.
Yeah, to me the difference is not subtle at all. So that's why that boost was there. It gives it just a little bit of a lift. So cut out a little bit of the mids. And so to me it sounded dull without the EQ. Again, I'll bypass EQ.
Found escape in death. Found escape in death.
Big difference. Without the EQ sounds a little congested almost. The C6, here I typically will use the Zito lead Vox setting, the preset. That's just the template from where I start from. It doesn't mean I just set it and forget it. That's just not really quite the best way to do it. This yellow band here is usually boosted almost a decibel. It's like at 0.9, and it sounded absolutely horrible. It was ear piercing, so I lowered this down a little bit.
Found escape in.
Well, I lowered it to 0. So
Found escape in death.
gives a little bit of depth.
Lost of all pain.
Let's hear it in context.
Found escape in death.
Now I'm gonna do it again.
Found escape in death. Lost of all pain. No longer scared or afraid.
Sounds better to me. I like the C6. Felt like I needed a little bit of air up here, so that's what I did. Or not air, but more top end.
Found escape in death. Lost of all pain. No longer scared or afraid. One amongst dead king.
And here we have the slate channel. Again, the Waves Solid State Logic 4000 E Series channel strip. For me, it sounded like it was just right for this particular track. Not the G, but the E. E to me is a little bit, well, the G compared to the E is a little bit darker for me, so in terms of sound. There's a bunch of automations, as I mentioned. Somewhere along the way, this is bypassed at a certain point. So a little boost in the mid-range here and there. And then, yeah, that's actually all it's doing. And then it's compressing, as you can see, again, about 10 decibels. The Iosis de-esser, and then SPL dual band de-esser, which is awesome. There's a point in the song where it is disengaged, or at least the high band is disengaged at a couple points because it was causing issues. So this parallel track here, this parallel compression track. Let's just see what happens if I mute this parallel compression. So the effect is subtle. To me, I feel like it just gives it a little bit more, I don't know, makes it a little bit more interesting to listen to. It's more of a feel than something you hear. So I'm going to turn off the tape emulator here, which is a soft tube. And you can see it's hitting it a little bit, right? It's hitting it up to about -10 dB in terms of, well, -10 dB VU, so, or 10 decibels below 0 VU. So, with that being said, we're not sending a lot here, well, at least not on that one. The lead track we're sending more through the lead track, so about -30, what is that, -35. So, just a little bit, just to taste. Not a lot going on there. This is there more for tone really than compression. So those are the plugins that we're using. And then let's look at the effects buses here. We'll do this quickly. I tend to like shorter videos. So here we're using Spring, Abbey Road plates, Waves, H reverb. So this is my long reverb. This delay is awesome, at least for this particular track. So I'm just going to do this here. If you'll indulge me, I'm going to just have the lead play through this.
If it was up to me, if it was up to me, if it was up,
Oops.
found escape in death.
And that's feeding vocal reverb, yes, reverb 1, that effects bus. Then Vox delay 2 is going to be feeding reverb 2. So let's hear that. Hear the difference. And then this here. But wait, vocal delay 2 is feeding vocal delay 1. And these all eventually kind of feed each other except for Vox spring. But it's not doing that because I forgot to hit solo here, that's why.
Found escape in death.
So I think I showed you the spring reverb here, Abbey Road plates, H reverb. This is my long reverb, 5.11 seconds of delay time. Dotted eighth note delay time for the, I'm sorry, for decay time is just 5.11 seconds. For vocal delay 1, eighth delay time, dotted eighth note for delay time, and then for repeater here, this other one, we have a quarter note for delay time. So let's talk about automation quickly here. There's tons of automation on this. It's not even funny. So you can see here, for example, if I just go to Vox delay 1, I think, no, Vox delay 2. So I'm just going to go out. So lots of automation. Certain phrases, you can see a boost in a couple of things. You'll see boost in the send level to the delay, and you will also see a boost in volume on the chorus here. So
found escape in death.
See, it's still going. You have that tail. Listen again.
In death.
Still going. Right? And then here, and you also see a raise in volume at the end of certain phrases for the other vocal tracks.
Afraid, one amongst dead kings.
So let's hear all these together.
Afraid, one amongst dead kings.
Right.
Your voice, and she's one for show.
Hear a little bit of that chorus type of effect.
Time runs as one.
Yep. You'll hear that as well. So not only do I have the sends automated, I also have the volume itself automated, with the exception of the lead vocal track because it's feeding this aux bus. So the reason why these are pre-fader sends and not after fader is that when it's recorded, it's not looking, or rather the strength of the signal going to the effects buses, right? So if I'm yelling at a certain point, like let's say, or not yelling, sorry, if there's yelling at a certain point, see how this is a little bit louder here, right? It's going to send more signal to the effects bus without me having to move the fader up and down. So what does this do? It gives it more, makes it more 3D, so to speak, right? So more levels going out from what was recorded, quote unquote, to disc or to tape or whatever you want to call it. The latter, it's going to hit the effects buses. So when it's quieter, I will raise the gain up, and then it'll sound like, you know, the singer's right there. It's a little bit more intimate. So that's why I did that. So, and then there's also, so you can see, there is some automation for the different plugins at some point as well. So this was automated, this EQ3 send band, briefly. I don't remember why I did. I think it was to eliminate beep, but a beep that I heard somewhere in the mix. But anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon for part 3.